Good morning. Happy Friday. Another week under the belt, back in the routine. I wanted to share something today that I think a lot of people really just need to hear it over and over and over again. It's not you, like you are not your bad back, despite what you think. And I think, like, when I talk to people about this stuff and I'm working with people, I come from a place where I really care about them changing their life. It really upsets me to see someone who has built a life around their pain, and they're caught in this trap of thinking that they need to manage their pain. As soon as you fall into that trap, you're doomed, because you are taking on the identity of somebody whose outcome is pretty much like, it's not great. You know, it's like if I make a decision today to choose to be a certain type of person who sits around, all day doing nothing. Like, over time, that's just going to become who I am, and it's not going to serve me well in the long run. Like, so if you've had back pain for a long time, you've become your bad back. And I say that from a place of absolute love and care. Like, and I know that might upset you, but like, sometimes the truth has to be said before it actually just wakes you up. You have to hear it. And I'm not afraid to upset people, in terms of, like, if it's going to unlock them and get them heading in the direction that they need to go, because for a lot of people at first it's just pain. It's a flare up, it might be a bad day, it's a movement that worried you or scared you, a moment where your back, your back pain kind of flared up and your confidence disappeared temporarily. But over time, then I get something changed, bigger, something bigger changed. Like, the pain really stopped being something that you felt and started becoming the filter for which you see, and live your whole life. You became the careful one, the fragile one, the one who doesn't lift, the one who avoids bending, the one who checks the chair before they sit down, scans the room, like the one who says, I better not, just in case. The one who starts blaming all of the different things for the fact that your body is sore, and without like realizing it. And it's a real, like, gradual thing, is that your world actually got smaller. But it wasn't because you suddenly became weak. It's not because you're broken, because even if you strained your back, even if you've had like the worst case of sciatica, even if you've had, even if your scan shows things, like, all of those things heal. Like, the human body's amazing like that. The healing process starts and it finishes, but it's like what you do in that time will determine what you get. But the pain itself then has started to train you into an identity, that identity of someone with a bad back. And you cannot build freedom again from that identity, because it just doesn't work. You cannot rebuild your confidence back up while constantly telling your body that it can't be trusted. And you cannot become strong while living every day like one wrong move could ruin everything. Because every time you avoid, protect, tense, guard, and you pull away from life, your body learns that same lesson, like that things aren't safe. And if you practice this long enough, normal movement starts to feel dangerous. Bending feels dangerous, lifting feels dangerous, exercise and movement feels dangerous. Living will feel dangerous. And that's how pain takes more than your comfort. It takes your confidence, it takes your freedom, it takes your spontaneity to live your life. It takes the version of you that used to just get up and live. And I'm not saying this to blame you. Like, pain is real, fear is real, frustration is real, but the pattern is also real too. And if we don't challenge the pattern, it will keep running your life. So if we keep following this same path, if we keep our focus always on the bad back, that's exactly what we're going to get. Because avoiding things is not healing, avoiding life is not recovery, and protecting yourself from everything that matters to you is not a strategy. It's actually just a slow kind of giving up and surrender of the life that we want. And I know, because of like working with people for such a long time with these things, I know why you do it. And I get it. Like, you're scared of another flare up. You're worried about making it worse, of it affecting your life. You're tired of being disappointed because you've tried loads of treatments, and you're tired of telling people that that you've done this and you've tried this and it hasn't worked. But at some point, you've got to be really honest and ask yourself, am I protecting my back, or am I protecting the story that actually keeps me stuck? Because there's a difference. The old story will say to you, I have a bad back, I can't do that anymore, my body is fragile. The old story will make you wait until you're fixed. But there's another side of this coin, right? A new story will say that your body is sensitive because of living in protection mode for such a long time, but you can rebuild it. The new story will say movement isn't the enemy. My movement has become a certain way because that's what I've practiced the most. And because I've been avoiding things, I've lost the ability to tolerate certain things that I need for my life. But I can get that back. And you can teach your body that confidence again. And that is a really important shift for a lot of people. And this is where recovery really actually begins and starts. And I've asked this question is always, why do some people get better and some people don't? It's because that the person who decides to get better makes that decision at that particular time. They make that shift. It isn't when they find the perfect fix or when this every sensation in their body disappears. It's not when everything becomes completely certain. Recovery begins when you stop living as that person with the bad back and you start leading and taking control of things like someone who is on their way back. So like that hero's journey that we always see in movies. It doesn't mean like forcing things. It doesn't mean we're ignoring pain. It doesn't mean that we're just pushing through everything, It doesn't mean like that, that we're just being reckless with recovery. Not at all. But it just means that what we're doing is with our actions, we're building proof, small proof, repeated proof, and daily proof. Proof that you can move, that you can bend, that you can strengthen again, that discomfort is not always danger or damage, that a bad day is not a failed recovery. Because your body does not rebuild trust through avoidance. That's got to be crystal clear to you. It rebuilds that trust through experience. And every time you choose a little more life, a little more movement, a little more courage, you send your body a new message that we're safe, we're capable, we're not broken. And I need you to hear this clearly because you're not your bad back. You're not your worst flare up. You're not the fearful voice in your head or the old identity that pain has tried to give you. You're a human being who's after getting caught up in this pattern, but patterns can be changed. And the old identity has to be challenged. That identity that says I'm fragile, that identity that says I can't, this is just who I am now. No, no, that's not who you are. That is who pain has trained you to become. And now we train something new, a stronger identity, a braver identity, an identity built on trust, movement, capacity, and life, because there is no other way. And today we have to draw a line in the sand, not against your body, with your body, and say, look, I'm done I'm done living like this, letting my back and my pain stay in control of my life. I'm done with asking like fear for permission to live. I'm done with like shrinking my life to fit this old story, because we know if you shrink your life, your pain will expand. A lot of people, like, they don't know that. They think that taking away things will solve their pain, but actually what you're doing is just feeding that pattern and making that pattern stronger. It's when you start taking control of your recovery and not handing over your ability to get better to somebody else and relying on somebody else to fix you. Because again, that's the pattern. That's the bad back pattern. That's somebody who believes that they need to be fixed before they can start living your life. But you don't need to be fixed, but you need to follow a different pathway. And I think that's a really important thing for us as well, the pathway. And this is what I talk about in the Better Back Reset. And this is what I teach in the Better Back Reset. And this is what I show you in the Better Back Reset because I care about it. So listen, you can see it. It's clear as day. If you've been in pain for a long time, that whole red side there for you, I guarantee you that that's where you're living. But you have a choice. We can start walking a different path. You're not broken. Like, you're not damaged, despite what your scan might say, despite what you've been told, despite what you believe. But if you keep following that path, that wrong path, what you're going to find is that you're going to get exactly that. You're going to get a smaller fear-based life, more pain, less freedom, and no progress. And we have to shift and change, because there is a possibility for you to change this. But you've got to make that decision. And everything that I do inside the Better Back Reset is all about taking you up that path. You see, all the way up over those rolling hills towards that sunshine. And that's where I take people. And it's not a quick fix. It's to change your life forever. And that's why I care so much about this. I care so much that I don't want to give you that same old shit that you've had. I want to give you a clear pathway back to the life that you want and the life that you deserve. Have a super weekend, and I will talk to you really, really, really soon.